Now, don't be alarmed. I know it doesn't feel like it, but the Chiefs are in first place in the AFC still. It's okay. Welcome back to RGR Football. That win over the Dolphins was a lot of fun. And Dan's going to tell you exactly why. We got some special stuff for you tonight. It's Q&A night, but I'm going to call it Q&A plus. How's that? We are going to get into all of your questions tonight live here on the channel. We hope that you are enjoying your Monday night. Yes, there's going to be a ball game, but we are here talking Chiefs just like we are every day. He's Dan Harms. I'm Ryan Tracy. This is RGR Football. Welcome in. Every super chat gets an answer tonight. So go ahead and start laying them in there because we got a lot of questions already. You don't have to use a super chat. You can also just ask questions with some question marks at the beginning. That will help us sort them out. We're going to get to all of them tonight. But bottom line, everyone is sleeping on this team. They didn't see this coming. They thought, oh, they got a bunch of second-year guys in the secondary. They're not going to be able to stop anyone. Guess what? It just keeps coming, and they're finding more and more ways to get it done. And kudos to everybody. Top of the show, I need to shout out Justin Reed because I didn't get to it last night, and I should have. And people have reminded me that I should have. He played a solid game. He brought the wood against a couple of guys and set the tone in the secondary. Didn't have a lot of chances, but I thought he played a good game, and I'm eager to see the 22 myself. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, guys. Film dropped early today, so I got to get in there and look at a little bit of what the Chiefs were doing and what they weren't doing and how the defense is legitimately elite. So yeah, I'm doing good. Like I'm feeling great about the defense right now. I think that they're legitimately an elite defense of the NFL. It's funny, we talked about how maybe they could be a top 10 defense early in the offseason. Like, yeah, I could see how they could get there. Man, some of you were excited about it and some of you predicted it, and you were absolutely right because they're legit.
Yeah, and I've been reluctant because my heart wants that, and so I've been trying to steel myself and not get my hopes up. But we're just about there. So I'm starting to open the gates. If you guys want to help out the channel, we would appreciate it. Make sure you like and sub so that you get with us and you hit that bell so you know when something new happens. Because every now and then we're going to throw something at you that's a little bit iffy and maybe last minute. So get here on the channel. If you're somebody that found us via the shorts feed, this is what we do the rest of the time. The shorts that you've seen are sometimes clips, sometimes one takeaways. But we do this a couple hours a week, Sundays, Mondays, Thursdays. You get huge live streams from us. You get a bunch of detail-oriented analytics, film content in between all that so that you can hit the live stream. So we welcome everybody. A lot of new viewers lately, so I appreciate you all. And if you want to get some of the gear, we got the MVP logo stuff I'm wearing. We got Dan's gear on the RGR. We got Chiefs Nation. You can get all that in the store down below, and that helps us as well. So we very much appreciate all the support. We're going to get after it. We'll start here at the top because everybody got questions in before I even showed up. So well done, everyone. And Justin Meade, thank you for coming to the Locked On Chiefs show. If you guys don't know me, I'm the host of the Locked On Chiefs show. I've been doing that for 7 years. I've been podcasting for a little bit longer than that, about 9. Writing a little bit before that, strength and conditioning coach, performance coach, coach at KU, a ton of stuff. So that's where we start. Dan is the guy who does all the dirty work and honestly keeps me from having to dig into the film because he's way better at it at this point. So
I wouldn't say I'm way better at it than you. That's not how this works. We are we're a duo. I've gotten to the point now. Well, that's what I do. That's my job. My job is now film. Like it's film analysis. It's not everything that you do. I don't have a day job other than looking after my daughter, which is a job in and of itself. So there is that.
I know that feeling. Good Lord. I have, for those of you who care, I have teenage daughters. It scares me every day and I'm sad. And that's why I watch so much football. So, luckily, their boyfriends are football players too. And they know well enough to be nervous. So I like it. We're going to jump right into the questions now, and I'm going to shut up about everything else. John, hope you're doing well, buddy. During the bye week, how much practice does Andy put on the players and what do you want them to focus on? Me catching, route running, and run blocking. Well, it is a bye week, so there will be no practice. They are off for that period. They'll get back. I think they come back in, and rather than starting their routine Wednesday, they're going to get in a day early, I believe, on Tuesday. That's what he usually does. We'll see. But this is a time you're going to see Instagram posts from the players from Hawaii and Turks and Caicos and Puerto Rico, and they're going to get away, especially from the cold. They're probably going to go somewhere warm, try to rest their bodies, recuperate. And that's what most of this is for. There'll be some guys that stay in town because they have family duties and that kind of thing, but it could be a little bit of everything. Let's see. Oh, somehow I muted you. I didn't mean to do that, Dan.
Oh, that's okay. It happens. We're good.
Go ahead.
We're good. No, we're good. We covered it
Okay,
all.
cool.
We're good.
All right, rock and roll. I'm actually having some lag here, so I'm gonna have to change nets. But Mike, I was gonna ask you, Pat Surtain, Justin Simmons, Asante Manuel, Derwin James, Howard, Jalen Ramsey, they all faced our wide receivers at Kelsey in the last 4 weeks. Are we being too hard on the wide receivers? And that's a great question, Mike, and I'm interested to see what you think.
All right, so I think this question is a little twofold because no, I don't think we are being too hard on the wide receivers, specifically because you have second round draft capital in both Sky Moore, Rashee Rice, and now McCole Hardman, who's back on the roster. And you've also invested a third round pick into a former first round pick in Kadarius Tony, which you're not getting the production that you would hope out of those players. And also, they're not necessarily being put in the proper position to succeed all the time, and they're being rotated in and out a lot, which doesn't help a whole lot. But at the end of the day, we're not seeing a ton of growth in the usage from Sky Moore, which was talked about previously. There's been lots of talk about how Kadarius Tony either doesn't know the offense or whatnot. From my understanding, Kadarius Tony understands the offense. And I'm going to tell you right now, they had specific packages the moment he was traded over to Kansas City. Okay. So anyone that's telling you that he doesn't know the offense is not understanding what's going on. He's not connected to the team and the organization. That's just not true. So I don't believe any of that for a second. And yes, they've had some tough matchups against some of their players, but have we heard complaints about Rashee Rice in terms of getting open? They're scheming him open. They're actively looking to get him the football. It's active, except for outside of the last, nearly 3/4 of the football game yesterday, which is baffling to me. So
yeah,
I place a lot of this on the coaching right now.
And, I think I feel like it's a concerted effort to hold things back. So hopefully this connection's a little bit more stable, folks. If not, I will do my best to fix it. Now that the queen of the show is here, Miss Avery will entertain you, of course.
I see you.
With, Herberts, etc. But yeah, I mean, I feel like it's a floodgate. It's what did I call it on lockdown? I called it Andy Reid in the chamber of playbooks. It feels like they've been holding more back this year than normal, even though Avery doesn't agree and she thinks that it's all out there. And I like the way you're going at it, kid. Well done. Don't bite your tongue. Would you take 2019 week 2 through 4 wide receivers when Tyreek was out instead of these wide receivers? 2019 was Sammy, D-Rob, Hardman, and Pringle.
Yeah.
Good night, sweetie. Production. You snap those guys in, and they were more productive than this group is being. That's fair. But there's way more upside in this group. Sammy Watkins was at the peak, then was about to start coming down the backside of the hill. D-Rob was maybe at his best season with Patrick there. And so when you start forecasting out for the future, I don't think I would make that change now myself.
I don't think so either. And the only guy that you would even, again, it's hope. It's kind of hopeful. Like you're hoping that because of the connection with Demarcus Robinson that you could get more out of that. But what does Demarcus Robinson do that Justin Watson doesn't do? Let's be honest. I think they're kind of the same player in this offense. They run the same routes and they get open on broken plays. D-Rob is better at understanding Patrick, his movements outside the pocket than Justin is, but they played for so much longer together that they kind of had that understanding. So time in the system, time with the quarterback is something that we're not seeing right now outside of Travis Kelce. That's kind of it. And MVS is just MVS, guys. I was trying to kind of hope myself into him being more impactful this season. It didn't work. It didn't do much, and I was right to begin with in my first estimation of what we would see from MVS going forward. So I'm frustrated. I think we're all a little frustrated. The team's frustrated. They're trying to figure out what to do at this point, in this juncture. And the bye week is a good place to figure that out.
Yeah, it certainly is. Gives you a breath of fresh air. It allows you to sit back. Guys will go on vacation, but they can take their tablets with them. They have access to the film. They can take a look at it. And I think maybe it's enough to just step back and get yourself in a new frame of mind. A lot of times you see guys revitalized by the break. Miss Tracy, glad you make it. made it. Nice to see you. And Miss Holly evidently is very happy as well, as am I. So nice to see you, Holly. Hope you're doing well.
What's going on, Holly?
And if you guys would listen to Tracy and actually hit that like button, we would appreciate that as well. It always helps. Let the algorithm know that you guys dig what we're doing, because this is what we're always doing. So that said, let's get back. Micah was on fire early, but I wanted to just let Steve get in here. Don't worry, Micah. We're going to get to him. And I just wanted to get Steve in here too. What does the Chiefs defense run better out of their 3 safety package or their dime package? 3 safety is a dime package. You can manipulate that, but what do they do better? I assume you mean than last year?
I think he's asking which do they want run better right now, and he thought that this 3 safeties package was different from their dime package. Well, specifically yesterday, we saw a 3 safety package that was a nickel package, but Shamari Connor was your pseudo linebacker, so he played like pseudo safety, pseudo linebacker. So it's almost like a base personnel package, but it's also a 3 safety package. So that was really cool to see, because it was a change up on what they've been doing. And they have used like Trent McDuffie and L'Jarius Sneed in that position before, but they have them playing Cape corner right now. And they had kind of a need for a big guy, a bigger safety that will come down into the box. And one thing that we know Jamar Connor is very good at is coming down and into the box, much like he does on this play specifically, where he's on. Yeah, right there. You see, guys, he's on the left side of the defense. He comes down in, gets a little block on Alec Ingold, comes down and make a play on the football. So, like, that's the kind of stuff that he brought to this defense early on in the game. He was a starter, essentially. He was like a starting linebacker for them. So the fact that they can just do this whenever they want to, it shows you what Steve Spagnuolo brought with him to Germany, and what he carries around with him every game is just this gigantic duffel bag, backpack, whatever you want to call it, and he just throws stuff out in the field, and it works.
It does. Show that again. Let's roll that a little bit so people can see, because folks, if you didn't recognize that, that was called a professional segue in the media world. That was very well done, Daniel.
Thank you.
This is a guy that's in my notes a couple of times, and I was really happy because it wasn't super flashy. It was just solid play.
Yeah,
Connor yesterday, in my opinion. But that is, again, the building block. Steve Spagnuolo was over the moon when they got him on draft day. So yeah. I'm really excited to see how this comes along. And that kind of play where you're actually being the force point and driving him to the sideline, Tranquil's following up. Those guys have similar speed, but that just shows you what Connor can do. He can be a nickel. He can be an off safety. He can be a box safety. He can be a cornerback. And playing the point here is really key to me, what allows you to unlock all those things in every way that Steve Spagnuolo wants.
And this entire game, it was stressed. Outside run game. They're going to come at you in the outside run game. Corners, linebackers, they were all stressing to get to the edge. So, like, this was a huge coaching point in the week. And they have a rookie come off the bench, essentially play like a linebacker position. And he shows, hey, we're here to play sound defense. Doesn't matter who it is. It's next man up. And they just kept rolling them that way. It was awesome.
We ain't messing around. Thank you, Steve. Great question. Micah, we're back to you. You must be in here early, buddy, because you're impressive. What are you seeing on film of our interior line that when we have these numerous 0 to 2 yard gains? I haven't watched the film specifically for that. I've been paying a lot of attention to the wide receivers, but I will tell you this, the common thread that I make in my notes is that it's just too quick. They're concerned about the stunts. The stunts are beating the pass game, and when they're coming off, they're not getting off blocks. They're not crushing the initial block, especially when they're trying to combo, and they're leaving gaps, and dudes are shooting them from what I've seen. I don't know if you looked at that specifically, Dan.
It's just kind of misses, whether it's guys blocking the same guy that they don't need to have, like they don't have to do. Like I saw there's a play that I watched earlier today that is Noah Gray and Travis Kelce blocking the exact same player on the right-hand side, but it's not a double team. Like he's in Noah's hip, kind of sitting there, and then you have a good job of Tooney on the left side getting to the second level with Creed, and they go to the same linebacker. So the linebackers and the safeties and the corners can flow to the running back instead of him getting plus yards on the play. He got 8. He could have gotten way more than that. But there seems to be a disconnect, and whether that's not letting them get physically in the run game a little bit more, I don't really know. But also the tackles have not been very good in run blocking. They get pushed in the backfield too often, in my opinion, which makes it look like the interior is not getting enough push. But remember, the majority of their runs are not vertical displacement runs. They don't run a ton of duo. They've running more this year than they have before, but a lot of it is on the horizontal plane. You're moving with the grain or with the play. So it's not them getting pushed upfield. It's trying to let those zone plays unravel. And then when they have those change ups with the actual gap and the power, that's when you see some of the vertical displacement. And then that's when those blocks from the tackles, when them getting in the backfield, can actually hurt them even more.
Well, and that's what's creating some of those gaps. If the interior three are coming off the ball decently, they don't even have to be, great, just coming off well. If the tackles are getting pushed back because they're not getting good leverage, you instantly have a gap in both Bs and it's over. There's nothing you can do to recover that because you either have a defensive tackle slanting or you have a linebacker filling that hole immediately. And that puts the pressure on Pacheco and everybody else. But here's the difference. I like the way that you put that. The vertical run game. At the end, it doesn't matter whether you're running something common like duo where you're helping each other out to get to the second level and making a gap that way, or if you're just firing off the ball. This team has never been a come off the ball as hard as you can and knock the shit out of somebody. And I think until you're ready to do that and dedicate the time to prep that, you're not going to. And for those of you kids that are watching, sorry about that. I forget that it's Monday night. Here's the thing. I think they're all capable of it. Maybe not Donovan Smith given his age. But I think even if you train Jawan Taylor, you can get him to do that some, but they just don't want to. They understand that it's more efficient, it's more athletic to just use your horizontal ability to use your feet. Every one of these guys is a decent lineman in terms of athleticism, and I think that's what they rely on, and I think that takes time out of their practice schedule, and that's why it doesn't get back in there.
I don't disagree, and we won't even know any of this unless we were behind the scenes. And that's the problem. Like, we'll never actually know what they practice unless we're at practice. And I got nothing else for you guys. I don't really get it.
And Micah's last of the initial onslaught is here. And that is about Richie James. Is it worth activating him, giving him some playing time? And I think that it is. I think they want to rush it, so I don't think it's going to be immediate. But I thought he showed you a glimpse when he was in early in the season. And I do think at the end of the day, what's working in this offense? It's Rashee Rice and the veterans. That's what's working. So another veteran that's used to moving the sticks, even as just a possession guy, can help.
At the same time, he's a slot player.
Mm-hmm.
And where has Rashee Rice been your most productive wide receiver out of the slot? So, and yes, I saw more vertical routes on the outside from Rashee Rice this game, but I tell you what, he wasn't getting open. And it was more just trying to get space for other players underneath. That's pretty much how it's been used, and that's not what I want to see him doing mostly. So if it's just going to be bringing him in to kind of be the slot guy and then have Rashee be the outside guy, then you're scheming up Richie James instead. I'd rather see a more explosive player doing that personally. Fair
enough. I'm looking at Rashee's. In fact, I'll share this just because I want to present it to everyone. So you don't think I'm making this up. Somebody new to the channel asked me the other day if I just make up all these stats as though that I don't know how to do research. So I found that entertaining, to tell you the truth. Let me see if I can get that on screen. Okay, so here's the progression for Rashee and what he's been doing snap-wise. And I'm sorry, this is a little bit low. Let me pull that up and see if I can get the question off of here. And the overlay and the whole other 9 yards, so I can actually show you guys what this actually looks like. Or maybe I'll just do this and take us. Oh, no, that's even worse. Good Lord. Now I'm alone. Okay, here we go. Okay, here we go. I feel better now. So you see the progression. It was balanced in week 6. 17 in the slot, 18 outside. It was a little bit wider in week 7, 23 to 17. Then it flipped again last week, 21 inside, 15 outside, and then it flipped back. So they're varying him enough that it's telling me that it's not that they don't think he can play outside. I think they're looking for what helps everyone else, and can he run routes, make catches from anywhere. It's starting to feel like that's how they feel about him right now. I want to see him predominantly outside. Just leave him out there. Let him work a guy. Give him a corner that he can just learn to stack and he can play the long game with through a couple of quarters. That's what I'm looking for.
If they were willing to throw dig routes to the outside receivers, I'd be all for it. But they don't want to throw them because they typically have them as the backside read when they run those digs from the outside receivers. And that Mahomes doesn't ever get to the backside. He is starting to become a half-field read quarterback, which kind of irritates me, to be very honest with you.
Yeah, I don't like the sound of that. I don't know if I'm ready to call him that, but he certainly isn't progressing fast enough.
I'm not necessarily saying it's his fault, but that's how it feels right now.
Gotcha. Okay. So it doesn't look systemic to you is what you're saying.
No, it feels like it's the offense and kind of locking in on a certain player or the first read, whoever it is, and then waiting a little bit too long to have this to see if they get open. And that's, I don't know. That's kind of how it feels right now. I'll be honest.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Let's see here. Who is next? Micah, thank you for that. And we appreciate that you're enjoying the pod. And just wanted to say that. Dennis. Sorry, Dennis. I have a Denise in the queue as well. I have a gut feeling that, like Ryan said, it might be a whole new offense after the bye. What do you think are the chances that Andy has been sandbagging the whole first part of the season, Dan?
What are the chances? I don't have a clue. A lot of me wants to say that he has. They're 7-2. Like I'm trying to wrap my mind around the idea that Andy Reid has literally just been whatever. We'll figure it out. And if not, we got the bye. And I'm just going to kind of throw nonsense out there because if you look at, and I've said this a lot and I'll continue to say it, Justin Watson and MVS's best routes are deeper down the field. They're not quick route guys. They can't get open quickly. But they're not changing anything about what they're doing. They're doing the same stuff. So, while I don't think he's just been sandbagging, some part of me in the back of my head is just like, Andy Reid don't care. Andy Reid doesn't care. Like he's just going to do whatever he wants. And we'll see. The week against the Eagles after the bye, I think we'll find out if Andy Reid's been sandbagging.
I think you're probably right. Legion, and thank you, Dennis. Legion, nice to see you. What are the odds that Rice, Sky, and Tony become the guys by the season end? And just seeing Rice's name is making me hungry. Just saying.
Oh, does it? I've got something that will make you guys even more hungry here in a second. So what are the odds? Right now it's probably less than 40% because of their usage. Sky Moore had his lowest percentage snap share of the season, I believe, yesterday against Dolphins. Kadarius Tony had 7 snaps on offense. He had 7 snaps. And he had one of the most impactful catches on the day, and he never got looked at again.
It doesn't make any damn sense, does it?
Sky Moore also had one of the more impactful plays on the day. And all 3 of those guys had important, impactful catches on their best drive of the day. And not one of them got looked at after the first target to Sky Moore in the second half, which was a miscommunication on him and Patrick Mahomes' fault. Not one of them got targeted. Rashee Rice didn't get targeted after his catch on 3rd down.
Right?
On that drive. Never got looked at.
And if I take a look, total, they got 7 targets, was it?
Maybe. I know Sky got 3.
6.
And Sky got 3, Rice got 3, and Tony got 1. I thought. Or
2. Rice only got 2.
Oh, Rice only got 2. See, look at that. Yeah. So yeah, it's that was a confusing one for me. It kind of felt like 21-0, and Andy Reid was just like, okay. Take our foot off the gas once again because that's what Andy Reid does. It'll never, and then execution issues in the second half. So no, I think the odds are extremely low that happens.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think I'm with you. And just to circle back on your point, you correct me if I'm wrong, but in my opinion, what you saw on that slant and over to Kadarius Tony is exactly what he should be doing every ball game, 20 times a game, and throw in a few other routes. Stress that seam right now and get him the hell out of too high because if you're going to hit that gap between them over and over and over with a guy that's that quick, they have to bring somebody down. They have to give you one over the top. And now you have options to go deep like Patrick always wants to. I'm baffled and dismayed and pissed off all at the same time because it just makes no sense.
Some of his best catches this season, actually pretty much all of them, have been over the middle of the field, every single one of them, and he's been open a ton when he's doing it too. So it doesn't make any sense to me. So before we all get out of hand with the anger here, and before we get to words, no, you're fine. We're gonna get you guys a little bit of a preview of what I've done over the past week. So this was the brisket that I did on Sunday. This right here was 9 pounds. I've never done something that big before in my smoker. It could have gone a little bit longer, but we got some really nice flavor out of it. I made these apple cheddar muffins with a thyme and maple butter, homemade. I made that myself.
Dang, dude.
It's a nice little
arugula
apple salad
right now, so I'm gonna do that.
And then this on the left was tonight. I made a sun-dried tomato and Parmesan risotto topped with red wine and rosemary sausage, and then some nice roasted cauliflower. So this is what I've been doing the last couple of days, making some food.
Dude, you are killing me, Smalls. God, I haven't done anything that clever. Somebody else made the brisket on Halloween, and I've been cooking random like rice dishes lately. So, damn. Okay, you're gonna have to put some of that somewhere else. And I have a perfect.
We're gonna have to figure something else for it. Yeah.
we're gonna have to start the RGR Craft with Chef Dan here is coming up over on the other channel, folks. If you missed my GABF breakdown, it's over there, and I have some beer stuff that's going up this week. So check out the other one. It's RGR Craft. All things food, wine, whiskey, and song. I guess I don't know. No, that's the Candy Creek channel. Too many channels. Sorry. Do you think the early success of the defense will earn Spags another head coaching job next year? Cullen is moving up. Words on fire. That's an interesting concept.
Yeah.
Whew. Do you think he gets a shot? Just gut.
No, I don't.
Ooh, I'm dripping.
He's not a head coach. He's not a head coach. And we've seen the experiment already. Everyone's seen the experiment already. So I'm going to say no. And I think Steve Spagnuolo doesn't want to have another one either. I think he's very comfortable where he's at and what he's doing. And when he's done, he'll just walk away.
He's paid well. He's 68-ish years old, as I understand. He doesn't have to deal with all the minutia of being the head coach. I think he's happy as a clam. I think as elite defensive coordinator. I wouldn't be looking to go anywhere if I was him, and I'm not sure anybody else is going to come call him. There are crazier things, let me say, though, because if they finish this year in the top 5, somebody will be like, hey, why don't we get Spags?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. We'll see.
Nas, thanks for the super chat, buddy. Appreciate you. What wide receiver could you see them getting in free agency? Good God almighty, I don't know.
I was about to say, do you have the free agent list in 24 coming up? Because
I have a free agent list because I was looking at left tackles earlier today. Hold on.
Okay, look at that. There we go. Look at that.
Okay, so here's your wideout class of free agency. Mike Evans, 31 years old. A lot of folks still think he can play. I'm not sure he can play in this offense. Odell Beckham, toast. Curtis Samuel, not going to pay for him.
Fine. Yeah, no.
Tyler Boyd, okay. Michael Thomas, 32 years old next season. Kenrick Bourne, retread after retread. DJ Chark, same thing. Cedric Wilson, same thing. Paris Campbell never materialized, always hurt. McCole Hardman, I will tell you this. This is an interesting name on this list. I don't know if everybody caught it, but during the broadcast, in the post game, Dave Tobe marched over to Braxton Berrios and spent a couple of minutes talking to him.
That
dedicated
welcome
return
to
specialist.
I was about to say, welcome to Kansas City, Braxton Berrios. We're done with these returners. He's going to be in Kansas City. Arm and leg, Dave Tobe is like, get me Braxton Berrios.
Oh, I think that may not be the answer, but it could be a answer. Who else? Jason Aguilar, no thanks. Randall Cobb, older than me. Josh Reynolds, Marquise Brown. I know you like Brown. Brown does nothing for me, but it all depends on the contract there for me.
I don't think he's leaving. I think he's going to stay in Arizona.
Okay. Calvin Ridley. I thought he was going to have a year.
Going to stay in. He's going to stay in Jacksonville anyway.
I don't think he can move on. The guy that's going to be the crown jewel of this class is this guy right here.
T. Higgins.
Now, I'm not saying no. I'm just saying he's worth twice MVS's contract right now.
Yeah, and that's the problem. That's the problem. His contract is going to price him out of Kansas City unless we say goodbye to Chris Jones, unless we say go younger and inexpensive at some other places. Say goodbye to L'Jarius Sneed. We're talking about if you want to bring T. Higgins in, that's what you're going to have to do. That's fact. It's just a fact.
I mean, his value is going to be 20-ish. Let's see what over the cap says. Just for giggles.
Okay.
His valuation right now is at 4.5, which is, fair enough. Oh, I clearly didn't do this right. Never mind.
I was about to say you clicked the wrong thing.
I did the wrong thing. We'll come back to that. But long story short, before we spend all our time on wide receiver free agents, doesn't have for 6 months. It ain't a whole lot to pick from there, Naz. So I'm not sure what they can pull off.
Not sure, man. Not sure.
Let's see. Quinn, liked what I saw early in the usage of Sky, McColl, and Rice. Feels like Andy held back after the 21-0. I absolutely agree with you.
Interesting.
I thought it was, look, hey, that's that pedal I'm taking my foot off. We're gonna have fun, see what Patrick can make up as he goes along. That's what it felt like to me.
That's what it felt like, and that's what they tried to get away with. And I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to twiddle my thumbs because that seems to be what Andy Reid does when they get a lead on anybody.
Agreed. Tactics, hope you're well. PFF says Lamar is the better passer and Patrick is the better runner. I mean, there's the PFF world of grades and there's your eyes. I'm just going to tell you, use your eyes.
And
he's thrown the ball pretty well.
Yeah, I'll say Lamar's been a much better passer this year than he has in his entire career. It is. And the difference is that Patrick is a more efficient runner because he runs when he scrambles. When he scrambles, he's like the most efficient scrambler in the NFL. And Lamar is often used to run the football and not just scramble. He's been better staying in the pocket this year. So you get those designed runs that don't necessarily equate to a ton of efficiency, which is a lot of what PFF stuff is built on. And then you have Patrick who runs the ball when he's got nobody around, nobody open, and is holding the ball a little bit too long. And Patrick this year's been terrible throwing the ball downfield. Let's be honest. They've been bad. They've been terrible. And the Ravens have not. They've been very good, and they have drops. So, yeah, that's what it is right now.
Well, and I'll tell you this. All Patrick's zoning in on Travis, missing receivers high when he does get a chance at it. Protection breakdowns that are rushing him through when he actually tries to deliver the ball. Not just that he has time to throw, but it's when he does decide to throw. He's generally got somebody in his face rushing his actual throwing motion. And so I think that's all factors. But besides all that, they're still 7-2. And I think they're going up and they have the ability to go up, whereas I'm not sure that the Ravens can sustain this. That's my thing.
I will say, yeah, I think the Ravens right now are playing the best football than they might ever play this year. And that's the thing, is the Chiefs aren't. Their defense, maybe their defense is. They faced their biggest test on Sunday, and they passed with flying colors. Their offense still is are we gonna go? Are we gonna go? But they have that room to get better because that ceiling has not been touched, really.
No, I completely agree with you. Terry, should we start looking for a new GM since he won't get Mahomes weapons? I think that is quite an overreaction on my part. The guy's giving you two Super Bowl rosters as well as uncounted. Fair enough. Plus the AFC championships. I see this wide receiver room now like we thought the corner room was going to be last year when it was all young guys and we were a little bit panicked, like how are they going to stop anybody? They came around faster than these guys are coming around. But I think the same thing is like they're at an investment level and they're going to get at least somebody that rises above the rest.
I'm with you.
Okay. Brett, what's the fix for the offensive woes? Give me some reason to believe. They can do whatever they want whenever they want. They just don't. They stop themselves. Well. Thank you. Hey, let's get into it.
All right, guys. Well, no, I'm just going to go ahead and this is a perfect segue, Brett. It's a perfect segue. So we have seen, is it loading? Is it playing? It's not playing on my screen. There it goes. Slow. Okay. So this is a perfect microcosm of what is going on with the Chiefs. Okay, so first of all, that's Patrick Mahomes is holding the football longer than he ever has, and he's throwing it shorter than he ever has as well. This is exactly why. It's just one little thing that gets missed. The stunt up front is going to get missed a little bit by Trey Smith, who turns his shoulders to the left a little bit too much. The guy gets beat across his face, and instead of hitting Rashee Rice down here at the bottom of your screen, who's going to open up over the middle of the field, as you guys see when it comes open, instead of being able to hit him, he now has to step up and throw the ball down to Nogre for a 2-yard gain. These little things, because the plays are there. This is a first down. This is a 1st and 10. They want to take a shot against a single high safety. They get the look they want. Rashee Rice is wide open, but they can't execute the play because of things that are happening. So
show him where he's breaking there. He lined up at the bottom of this play, folks.
Yeah, so I'll pause it as soon as he breaks so you guys can see over the middle of the field here.
Boom.
So right here, you got Rashee Rice with about 5 yards of separation and nobody in the middle of the field. And that's just what it is.
The guy in front of him is about to trail the other receiver well past him. This is a 25-yard gain. That ball is thrown on time right now, or maybe actually half a second earlier than this.
It's both. You've got Justin Watson and Rashee Rice wide open. You got him wide open, and he has to step up. I mean, he's not throwing it to Watson. He should be throwing it to Rice there. So yeah, this is kind of what we're seeing. He wants the deep shot. It comes open eventually, but he can't throw it because of, oh, look, a missed stunt. And they've been terrible this year at picking up stunts. Awful. They've been worse than maybe they were a couple years ago. So
the stunts have really slowed it down. And so just to illustrate your point, so he's holding on. He's trying to get to the deeper routes. He's trying to hit his, and then when he can't, he's got to start to come down in his reads, and then he's getting pressure in his face. And that's why he's rushing his delivery at the end, even though he's had 3+ seconds to deliver the ball. It's because he's holding on so long to get to either Travis or the deep routes. Just take what is there. When he's quick, when he's on time, when they're just being ruthless scalpels, they can do anything to anyone at any time. It's just waiting for this big play BS that is hosing them down, actually.
Let's be honest, though. It was there. It was there.
Yeah.
Trey Smith just can't do that. You got to know the game is coming. You can't turn your shoulders to the side. You have to be aware that that's going to happen. That's part of the issue, is that when they get the play, one little thing up front goes wrong, and then Patrick has pressure in his face, because he is holding the ball because they have to have a little bit more time to get open on these deeper routes. Sorry, guys, we got to speed up. I'm taking too long to explain it.
I'm doing it too, Cody. We don't know. We wish we knew. and Nate's talked to Kadarius. So has Matt Derrick, and I've heard from several people. That it's not a knowledge issue with Kadarius. I think they're being overly cautious. And here's my bottom line: the guy's fragile. And I think the team's gotten to the point where they feel he's fragile. So they're not going to put him out there until they got to have a game. He got that target on what is a route on a slant like that where you know you're going to take contact. They haven't done that all year because they didn't want to expose him. You needed this game. This is a big game. You're going to see it against the Bills. You're going to see it against the Bengals. You're going to see it in the playoffs. And I think that's what they're concentrating Kadarius Tony.
He was also that one target he got, there was nobody in the middle of the field. There was nobody there. Everyone was gone. But it was also a legitimate wide receiver route, a little glance route, just to put your foot in the ground and go. And guess what? He was explosive. We're gonna go off on a tangent if we keep any more on Kadarius.
Yeah, we're not. I'm moving on. Scott, do you think how well the defense is playing as Spags will be snagged for a head coach position? We kind of addressed this one before, so I didn't pre-read it. But Scotty, I don't think that's coming. Patrick, I don't understand why KT isn't playing. Same thing. Sorry, guys, I'm not screening your questions very well tonight, so I'm going to go to Scuba.
I should probably do that a little bit here.
Scuba said, do you guys think, and thank you for the support, buddy, do you guys think the Chiefs fans are spoiled complaining about 7-2 record? I'm complaining, at least. Well, good for you to admit it, Steve. Also, do you think we can win a Super Bowl with our play now? Been a minute since I caught a live, so hey, appreciate it, buddy, and I'm glad you made it back. First of all, yes, we're all spoiled, and that includes me. I am bitching and complaining a lot. And that's only because it's dropped potential. It's lack of execution that bothers me. But you're absolutely right. We're 7-2. We as a collective Chiefs nation. And that is something to be said for. Do you think that this team right now can win a Super Bowl? If this defense stays this good, this can happen. It'll be ugly, just like this last game was, but it is possible, in my opinion. What do you think, Dan?
Yeah, I'm 100% with you. This team, even in constructed this way, can win a Super Bowl because close games, they still have the best player in football, Patrick Mahomes, and they have won multiple games this year when the defense is on the field with a lead. They didn't do that in the past. Like, that was not something you typically saw a lot of. You'd have to hope that they scored with enough time for Patrick Mahomes to get the ball and then go down and score a field goal or something. That's what you hoped for. Right now, okay, let him have the ball. Let him have it. See what happens.
Well, Scuba, thank you. And it's nice
Appreciate
to see him. Glad you're back. Adam, if you could magically grant any current player on the Chiefs one skill or physical trait he doesn't already have, what would it be? For example, McDuffie be 6'2" and don't take that one. No, but if I could put Jalen Ramsey's arms on Trent McDuffie's body, you'd never complete a pass again.
I like that. That's a good one. I would make Sky Moore about 6'1". That's what I would.
There you
go. I make him a power slot and move right, or actually just make him the. If they want to play MX, make him 6'1". All right, he can move that way at 6'1". We'll be fine. He'll be open, guys.
I think there's a question coming up about receivers in this coming draft, and I have a power slot for you that I love.
There's a lot of those guys.
I know, right? It's kind of nice. What segment of the fans who are questioning Chris Jones and his production? How would you grade his play these last 2 weeks?
So let's go ahead and lump some of these questions together because there's another one in here. Thank you, Austin. I'm not going to take yours off the screen. I'm just going to also put up Doc Ozzie here because he's also got one. The KS guys are speaking out about lack of effort from Chris Jones over the last 2 weeks, giving up on doubles, stuff like that. So I appreciate the question from both of you. We're going to package deal this one. So thank you, Ozzie. Austin, we'll leave your original question up here. So two-parter here is Chris Jones is being doubled and triple teamed more than he's ever been in his entire career, I think. Last game, it was almost exclusively double teams.
Yeah.
If you were doing nothing but getting double teamed every single play and you're playing 85+% of the snaps, I mean, yeah, Chris was already kind of known to take some plays off from time to time. And he's unable to get to the quarterback right now because they're consistently singling him out. Okay. The problem, there'd be more of a problem if guys weren't getting home. Like if no one's getting home, okay, we got a little bit of a problem with the effort. But they've been okay. And obviously I've had the only issue that I had with Chris Jones was the penalty yesterday. That's it.
Yeah. And I think that was a direct correlation to frustration with being doubled all damn day.
Exactly. So yeah. It doesn't bother me a ton personally, but I understand the frustration.
It bothers me more than it bothers you, but it's also part of the deal. That's who Chris Jones. You're going to get plays up here, and you're going to get some plays down here. It's when you visibly just stop, because there's something to be said about the way George Karlaftis approaches his job. If Chris had that same thing, even though he is getting the doubles, eventually somebody's going to break the pocket, cut that angle, and that double ain't going to block you anymore either if you're in the right position. But I will also give him a break because everybody reacts to that kind of travel overseas like that differently. So I'm not going to take these last 2 weeks as his best 2 weeks. We'll see what happens going forward when they're back in Arrowhead, et cetera, et cetera.
Rest off a bye. Bet you we see a different Chris Jones on 2 weeks from now. Bet you we do.
I tend to agree. Scott Province, how are you, buddy? Does Veach just not know how to draft wide receivers and tackles since he picks every other position unimaginably early? It's not that he doesn't know. I think there's a couple of things. It's your scouting team and their personal experience with the position. I think they actually do pick linemen well in general. It also has to do with the coaching staff. This staff, particularly for offensive linemen, is very much, I want athletes. I want guys that move their feet. I don't have to have them be power. This is part of the scheme and the concept that Andy Heck and Andy Reid have installed in this roster. That's not Veach's issue. Veach is here to buy the groceries for Chef Andy to cook. That's what his job is.
That's fantastic, because I'm saying, can we stop blaming Brett Veach for doing what Andy Reid and the scouting team is telling him to do? Brett Veach is not doing he's doing scouting, but everyone else is too. This is an entire organization, and they all collectively have said, we want this player. And they go and got him. They want this player. They traded back and drafted him. So it's not all on Brett Veach's shoulders. He's not the one watching every single player and saying, yep, we're drafting this guy. That's it. Period. No, end of story. That's just not how it works. So I think that they believed in the ability for some of these guys to grow a little bit more than maybe they have. But also, I'm going to put a little blame on Andy Reid and putting Embry as your wide receivers coach. They have not developed a wide receiver in years. And then they put a guy who's never played wide receiver ever at the coach who's supposed to help develop these players. That's a problem.
Agreed. It's like having a head coach in Chicago that's a defensive coordinator when you're trying to develop a rookie quarterback or a young quarterback. In this case, it's the same concept. You can fill it in, but there has to be a cornerstone in every player's development. That has to be your position coach. There's no other way around that.
Absolutely.
It's frustrating. Keaton, thanks for the question. I like how we haven't really noticed Bolton's absence. We definitely won the Hill trade. All these FAs and draft picks on defense are playing out of their minds. I agree with you. It's been a nice change to have your captain of that defense have to miss games and you've been downtrodden. But I won't say that they don't miss him because the run is hurting them more than it was with Nick Bolton in. Drew Tranquil's done a stand-up job, but we have to remember Drew Tranquil is a starting middle linebacker on 22 or 24 teams in this league. They just happened to get him lucky and get him to commit to going to try to get a ring and taking a cheaper contract. Otherwise, he'd be somebody's starter.
Yep, I'm with you 100%.
Derelict, what's your opinion on the best time to have the bye week, especially with playoff caliber teams? If given the option, would you to choose bye weeks? Are you happy with what would you be your optimal?
Later, always later. I prefer later. I know it sometimes can look like this, where you're trying to figure stuff out and you haven't figured it out yet. But this is why they're 7-2, and now the bye week will allow them to really study the film, to really say what they do well, to really see the players what they're doing well and what they can do. And they'll be able to get into that and put it into their playbook more and then actually draw things up. So it's not just, okay, now we're game planning for this game. We're game planning for this defense. So we can't really sit back and see what our players do well and reflect on that.
Yeah, I'm with you. Personally, Derelict, I like weeks 11 and 13. Yes, I'm a little superstitious about prime numbers, but also it's later. And if you come in week 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. You get 4 games to make sure you're tooled up and you're ready to go for the playoff run, right? You're not having to hold back as much. Andy's going to come back in week 11, week 12. He might be like, oh, I'm still not going to open the bag all the way. So that's why I say that. I would like to see it a little bit quicker. Brazilian Jose, nice to see you. Now, what's the ceiling on the Chiefs D? Have they peaked? I don't think so. I think they can play better, in particular, a couple of ways in terms of initially getting beat on route in the secondary. That if they can just last a little bit longer, say 3 more steps, Chris Jones gets home or George Karlaftis comes off the edge, and I think that's going to help.
I also think they're playing without their best linebacker right now. They are. They're playing well. Like, again, you talked about how they're not as good as they could be in the run game or in the run defense, and they're not. Nick Bolton's going to make that better. It just is.
Sure. Yeah. And that's not a slight against your Tranquil. They are equally functional as a middle linebacker. Tranquil obviously has his strengths and Nick has his, and they are opposite. And that's why they're a super great duo, especially if they can't be out there together. I actually wonder in the end, when he does come back and you're in the base, I think it means less playing time for Leo Chanel, and not that Leo's been doing a bad job. But those two guys have earned it. You put those two on the field with Willie, especially at the game that Willie just played. I mean, that's going to be incredible.
Willie Gay played his best game as a Chief yesterday.
Yes, he did.
His best game as a Chief.
And he did it coming off of a back issue. And I know there's a question in here. I'm not sure exactly where it is. I am not concerned about Leo out snapping him because I was just happy that he played. And then he turned in the performance of his career on top of that. So I'm super functionally happy with that one. I don't smile that often, but I might. Can you guys put Spags' success this year to him finally getting more of his guys through the draft? First couple of these, maybe because they were Sutton's picks. Not even Sutton's picks, but just Sutton's leftovers. And I do think that Brett Veach is coming around to the guys that fit his type. George, honestly, isn't necessarily Steve Spagnuolo's type. Is he power oriented? Yes, but he doesn't have the length that Spags usually likes. Menahue is much more like that. FAU is much more like that. So I do think that there's a little bit of give and take in
Yeah, I agree. I think that he's just done a good job of kind of adapting what he used to do previously that worked and mixing in some of now new age stuff, like shifting the picture and using more athletes. Like Willie Gay's the best linebacker athlete he's ever had, I think, ever. Like,
Yeah.
and we're seeing a lot. Him, they drafted FAU, and he was not his traditional defensive end as well. Like, I think he's more open to just allowing today's game to influence his own game, and it's brought out the best in Steve Spagnuolo.
Yeah, I agree. Scott, pick two of the following for the rest of the season, and this is all you, buddy. D-Rob, Pringle, Sky Hardman. You prefer to suffer baby food greens on the diet for 1 week?
Oh man, Skimmy, Sky, and Hardman, and the reason I go that way is because you have a little bit of the thunder and lightning, and Sky's a very tough runner after the catch, and Hardman is the only one that will take a screen for like 10 plus yards and go like just go forward. Like that's why I picked those.
Which,
guys.
by the way, if you weren't with us last night, the screens that you saw McCall Hardman run behind actual blockers or significant guys like Travis Kelce and MVS, I thought had a good block on that. That's exactly what McCall Hardman should be doing every damn week. That's what he is built for.
Multiple times.
Verticality. Yeah. Till they take it away, right? If you're going to play me a stack 4 DB set over there, okay, fine. Then I'll run the other way. Thank you very much.
Exactly.
Oscar, just wanted to say hi and thank you for all the hard work and content. You really do appreciate helping me in my sanity while I'm at work. Well, glad to help, buddy. And glad that you're.
Thank you very much, Oscar.
Honestly, you guys are one of the most loyal fan bases in all of Chiefs Kingdom. We very much appreciate you. So let's beat the Eagles. And I think that they will. I hate to tell you, I'm just going to give it away for next week, but we'll tell you why later. Lev, would you guys look to bring back Mike Edwards as a vet and let Sneed walk with Watson and Williams and Nagy, given both Chamari and Nick Jones being on rookie deals? What's your thought?
So I like what Mike Edwards brings, but I also understand that they drafted Chamari Connor. Chamari Connor, he might not be the exact same player as Mike Edwards is, but he can play the same kind of underneath linebacker stuff or like inside the box underneath takeaway guy, because that's what Mike Edwards kind of is. He's not a true deep safety. He's a I'm gonna sneak around here. I'm gonna make you think I'm over here, but I'm really over here. Like I think Chamari Connor can play that robber role. I really do. So that's the thing is you get enough out of Edwards, you let him get a contract somewhere else, and you bring in Chamari Connor next year, and you have a cheap replacement. That's how this works.
Yeah, I agree with you. Lev, thank you for your other question about Spags. I think we've covered that. Do you think he's seen enough and has Kellen with him elevates this year? I mean, Cullen's there and he could be the heir apparent, but yeah, together I think they're doing a hell of a job, and that's why the defense is coming along so quickly. Charles, hope you're well. Why did Tony only get 7 snaps? That's the question of the week. We really just don't know. And I just feel like it's conservation for his legs, for his injury capability just through the year. Mr. Phil, why didn't Chiefs sign Leonard Fournette? I think he wanted to join the Chiefs because CH is not the answer. Fournette would have been a power back. Where do you stand on Fournette? Do you think it might have been a decent move?
No. Okay. Leonard Fournette just doesn't do it for me. And he's a good pass protection guy, and he's been a better pass catcher lately than ever in his career, which, it's good for him. But at the end of the day, what does Leonard Fournette bring you that is going to elevate this team? If they're not going to run the ball in 3rd and short anyway, what is Leonard Fournette doing for you?
Yeah.
Okay. And I believe that they don't trust their run game on 3rd and short, but I also believe that putting the ball in Patrick's hands is a good decision. I did not like the play call on 3rd and short yesterday. I thought it was a bad play call. If you guys watched the game plan or the game review after, I did not like it at all because it's done nothing but get stopped all year. So
Yep.
I didn't like that. I have no problem putting the ball in Patrick's hands. They've just been, it feels like they have to get creative, or they're just not going anywhere with it because they don't trust their run game. And that's another thing. When you have a 3rd and short offense where you don't trust your run game, you kind of have to put the ball in Patrick's hands. You have to get creative. And unfortunately, it's running dry at this point.
Yeah, I have flashbacks to Marshawn Lynch in the Super Bowl. And, if you can't run the ball, you can't get everything done. That's just the way I feel about it. And so
they won the
I think
Super
it
Bowl
has to be
last year because they could run the ball. But
I
let's
know.
be very honest. Because they could run the ball.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Kyle. I know we already answered your question, but I'm hoping FAU gets more too. But he's got to show that he's be able to break in there. I think Amenahu's return has probably slowed that a little bit, just because Charles has hit the ground running, and kudos to him for it. And Terry, we've been frustrated with him as well. We understand. Pacheco is good. Why don't they use him more? Well, they've actually been using him more this season than last. On average, they're up about 5-6 carries a game on average. So enjoy that while it lasts. I'm like crossing myself that it'll just keep going. He got another 16 carries this week. They got to keep doing that, and that will help keep this team winning.
Agreed.
Will you use McKinnon more in the second half of the season? What do you think?
Yeah, I think they'll use him a bit more, but you're going to probably see a little bit the same right out the gate, like against the Eagles. Probably about the same. And down the stretch, you might see him get a couple more carries. You might see him get a couple more targets. You might see him get a couple more screens. You might see him working pass protection more down the stretch to get him ready for the postseason.
Yes. Thank you, Tracy. Be a true fan. Be an RGR fan. Thank you, Gary, as well. Yeah, if there's 400 of you in here, I'd like to have, 300 likes.
That'd be nice. Just take 2 seconds. Just 2 seconds.
Yeah, done. I do it all the time for shows that I watch, so I know you guys can do it. I believe in you. I would use. I think that they ramp up McKinnon's use as well. What did they do to limit Kelsey? Also, what did we do to lock down Tyreek? I predicted him for 6 catches on 12 targets for 40 yards and 2 interceptions on his targets. Pretty close. You did pretty good, Justin. The fact is they kept somebody over the top on Tyreek, and L'Jarius beat the ever-loving snot out of him every chance that he got. It didn't always work. He didn't get him every snap, but when he did, it was physicality. It was disruptive, those first 4 steps of Tyreek's stem. And that's always the key to Tyreek.
And they limited Yak. They were guys, like you said, there were guys everywhere. And when McDuffie was on him, he was in his hip pocket. Yeah, he got a couple catches. He got a first down, but that was it. You limit the explosive plays, you're going to get negative plays. The Miami offense was built on explosive plays. They had one explosive pass the entire game, and it showed. It felt like they just could not move the ball consistently. And when you do that, you frustrate a team that's built on throwing the ball down the field a ton.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, they're used to having their way. And I don't know how you triggered his Google Assistant, but I love that. Makes me happy.
That's awesome.
Because I do that stuff constantly. Siri hates me and just doesn't work. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Is it Nagy calling plays or Reed? Because it's driving me crazy, the lackluster play from the offense. I'm going to say yes. Yeah. Shut up.
You guys all know how I feel.
I was not talking to you. Go away.
Andy Reid, guys. It's absolutely Andy.
Oh, and it won't change until they have to. If they get to the point where they feel like they're in danger of losing again, they will have to do something. But again, this comes back to, I talked about it in the offseason, I talked about it in the preseason, and I probably haven't brought it up soon enough. Their preparation is not complete. Their playbook is so huge. They take large chunks of it, including the run game, out every week. And so it isn't simply to go, okay, well, they're playing this man. We didn't expect that. We're going to go all these man beaters. Well, they haven't practiced them in a week. That's part of the problem as well. I think there's got to be something a little bit more shifting to be a little bit more all-encompassing in your game planning as well.
They also played a lot. It was a lot of zone. Like, they played against a lot of zone yesterday. Like, they really did. And it was just squeezing the zone like the Broncos did 2 weeks ago. They squeezed those deep routes. And guess what? Nobody's open.
Hey.
Something happened. The sun gets home. Offensive line, by the way, was not very good in pass protection. I put the passing game not being as explosive or as good yesterday more on the offensive line than I do on the receivers. I'll tell you that right now.
Really? Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely have to dig in that 22. I have not had a chance to look. I didn't even know it was out early. That's how far behind I am this week. Refs need to take a championship discount so we can afford to pay them off again. That's funny, Justin. I don't know how many times I got that in my mentions yesterday. The refs love you guys. You're the new Patriots. Oh,
Did you guys watch the game? Did you guys watch the game?
Whatever, bro. I'm done. I got nothing. Joe, thank you. Good question. Hypothetically, Andy was retired at the end of the season. Who would you like the Chiefs to hire as head coach? Would you let Spags do it if he didn't have to actually build the defense and Colin was the coordinator?
No.
No? Okay.
So you could probably entice Ben Johnson to coach Patrick Mahomes. Let's be very honest with this. If Andy Reid spare the moment retires and he's on the market, Ben Johnson is going to be the hottest name in coaching. You could get him to come coach Patrick Mahomes. I guarantee you could.
True. That's fair. I would not go running back to cast-offs. I hate to tell you guys. I'm fearful for the day this comes, but Eric Bieniemy could be the head coach of the Raiders this time next year. So just be prepared for that. I don't think Eric's coming back to Kansas City in that hypothetical situation, to tell you the truth.
Probably
I'll be the bearer of bad news.
Probably not.
Who in the draft and free agency can the Chiefs draft or sign to replace the tackles? Well, it just so happens, Mr. Phil, that I was looking at the free agent class for the tackles this afternoon, and I might as well go back to that page and show you what it was, because it's a desert. It's an absolute desert. Donovan Smith might be one of the top 5 guys here. All these guys are – I don't want anything to do with Jonah Williams. They moved him to the right, and they're about to move him out because they ain't going to re-sign him. It's hideous, this tackle class. Are there any right tackles that you want to flip over to the left? Not in my opinion, but who's out there?
No.
Reef ain't doing it. Becton. I mean, is there anybody young? Austin Jackson, I wouldn't pay him in the first place. Again, there just isn't anything there. So if we haven't said them already, Dan, who are the tackles that the Chiefs are looking at right now? Probably as we speak.
You're probably going to be looking at Joe Alt, if I remember that's the name, out of
top
Notre
pick.
Dame.
He's top on. They've been scouting him for 3 years.
Yeah, he's probably their number 1 tackle right now in terms of realistic possibility that they'd be someone. He's someone that they could get. Fashanu's going to be 2 up there. There's some some other guys that are coming out that I haven't got the names in front of me, that I've just seen some sprinklings about that are moving up boards. So I'll be having more of that as we get into it. I've been knee deep in wide receivers myself.
Yeah. I haven't done tackles yet either. Those guys are the top 2, though, from their last year's film that I have watched. And I'll tell you, the name that you're going to hear a ton related to everything, anywhere, to any championship team is going to be Fuaga from Oregon State. And I'm just going to tell you now. Yes, there's a nasty edge, but there's way too much Orlando Brown in his game for me. And I don't think the Chiefs are going to be anywhere near him. So I'm just saying it now. Gotcha. But yeah, we'll have a comprehensive list. I do have edge rushers and quarterbacks in all my advanced matrix, production matrix over on NFL 33 right now, though, Phil. So go sign up for that. Unfortunately, it's behind the paywall because that's the stuff that I've spent hours and hours and hours on. So if you guys want to get in on the draft concept and all the advanced analytics, they are out there. Just go sign up at NFL 33 for one of the paid subs, and you're in like Flynn. Jack, thank you, buddy. They're doubling Chris. They're doubling Kelsey. And that's opening up holes. Are we utilizing? I think the defense is. I think you're seeing gaps that you can run. You can blitz linebackers through, and you can get those corners in. And kudos to Trent McDuffie, who's not getting enough credit for this portion of his game, but he may have passed L'Jarius Sneed's best DB blitzer there is on this roster.
It's fantastic. He's doing a great job. And specifically, the should have been touchdown pass to Justin Watson was exactly that. They got Travis Kelce with some press man coverage, and they were like, beat him to the outside. He did. That safety comes down. Mahomes looks to the left, moves the linebacker underneath to his left. Oh, look at this. A gigantic hole. Throws it to Justin Watson, who, yes, tough catch, who drops it. They are doing some good things. Also, the touchdown pass to Jerick McKinnon. Travis Kelce draws 3 defenders. It's a touchdown. So there are plays where it works. There are plays when it doesn't. But you notice the plays that work are routes over the middle of the field in types of crossers or shallows or something like that. And when we're seeing it, it's corner routes, deep routes, so
They scored or moved the ball in
personnel.
giant chunks on back-to-back skinny posts to Justin Ross and Rashee Rice earlier in the season, and then they forgot how to run them, evidently. It's there in the middle of the field. They're just scared of two high safeties. I don't know why. It doesn't make any sense. Jack, thank you for the question, though.
Thank you, Jack.
No, they're not utilizing it properly, I guarantee you. Dr. Ozzy, I think it might have gotten lost. How do you guys think that the Sneed will do against A.J. Brown? He has struggled against Mike Williams in the past. What does that need to do differently? There's a very different dimension of that confrontation, though. L'Jarius Sneed has done poorly against Mike Williams because of the verticality of Mike Williams' games, in my opinion. A.J. doesn't necessarily have that aspect as much as Mike does. But L'Jarius is going to be in a battle to try and win that stem, and that's what it's going to be. The first 5 yards of every route, A.J. Brown's going to push him off of the route instead of the opposite, which L'Jarius usually can do. It's going to be difficult.
I think it's going to have to be a little bit of bracketing for A.J. Brown specifically because of the physical nature. He's going to give it as good as he gets it, and chances are he's going to push off L'Jarius Sneed because he is a big, strong dude. That's just what he is, and he can get open with that physicality. So it's going to be a little different. They might ask Sneed to not press him, to play off, and maybe try to get A.J. Brown to overuse his physicality and then just shadow bracket him. That might be the best way about that.
And let's be real. If you just play off zone on him and you make him stem at 7 or 8 yards and put his foot in the dirt and run a comeback or run a dig, you have the advantage there because you can change direction faster than A.J. Brown can. A.J. is good. L'Jarius Sneed is faster. So that may be the way that they choose to attack it as well. That makes a lot of sense. Thanks for the question, Ozzy, and getting us started on the path towards the Eagles here. We only got 2 weeks. It's going to be fine. Has anyone noticed? Chiefs beat the Finns. Oh, yeah, they did. Well done. Thanks for reminding us. Has everyone ignored Ty Hill for at least 5 minutes? And you're absolutely right. Like, I've done a poor job of reminding everyone. Tyreek Hill is, let's be real, he's the best wide receiver in this league. He has been since he left the Chiefs. He's on pace until this game where the Chiefs actually stopped him from getting his 2,000 yards. They might be the only team that stopped him there. And I haven't spoken about it hardly at all. And I apologize because I'm not giving it the credit that's due. The scheme was good. The play was good. And quite frankly, the pressure was a couple of misses on there that maybe could have gone for some big gains.
And mine's more drawn back on purpose because my video on Wednesday is going to be about the defense. And we're going to talk a lot about what they did and how they were able to do that. So, yes, it's been taken back a little bit. It's been so good. They were great. And what they did against Tyreek Hill was fantastic. And we're going to break it all down on Wednesday, guys.
I celebrate not just because of the topic of doing Tyreek, but Dan's breaking down defense. Enjoy that, you guys. Get ready. I'm set. Thank you, Scott. We're going to run through these last couple of questions, folks. If you have a super chat and you want to get in and do it now, because we are approaching the end of our time together this evening. As good as Tyron and Justin Reed are, they've made me miss Barry. He just felt like a different level of player. Maybe it's just nostalgia talking. Am I nuts? Before the diagnosis, I can understand. Post-diagnosis, I don't think Eric Berry was what he was before.
I think there was one season he was damn close. He was damn close. But
the Atlanta game?
Yeah. Not even just that whole season, I think he was excellent. But no, you're not nuts. Eric Berry was different. He was different. Eric Berry was one of, had he not gotten, the diagnosis and then injured, he might have gone down as one of the best safeties of all time. I fully believe that because of how good he was, not just physically, not just athletically, mentally.
He still could be a Ring of Honor guy. I mean, it's within the realm of possibility. Oh, thanks, Tipical.
Thank you for that
name right. Typesicle.
Trip down memory lane. I needed it.
Right. Phil, do you guys think that we will have a stellar secondary by year's end? I hate to tell you, buddy, they're pretty stellar right now. Are they The elite of the elite? No, but they are pretty damn good.
And they do it in multiple different ways. It's not just in coverage. It's coming down in run support. So many things, guys.
Can we just take a moment for my guy, Brian Cook, who everyone thought was a total lunatic last year? Maybe you're about to show him. I don't know.
No, this is Trent McDuffie, guys. Causing Connor Williams to hold him because he would not give up the edge in a run game. In the run game. Trent McDuffie is so competitive. He's so determined. He's not going to get beat. He forced Connor Williams to hold him because he was going to take this for a loss. That's what he was going to do.
You know what he does give up to that situation? 100+ pounds.
Yes, and he was not moving an inch. That is pure want. That's pure want to. You can't teach that. You can't teach it, guys.
That's incredible. And as much of a hothead my guy Cook was last year, he has come a long way. He's still, I know, making some bad reads at times, but he's showing
gotten better.
And it's only going to get better from here as well. Thanks, Phil. Thank you, Cole. Is it possible the Chiefs move on from Matt Nagy as OC after his contract? Also, when does Nagy's contract expire? Well, the Chiefs don't release coordinators or assistant coaches contract links, so we don't know. There might be somebody, maybe one of the beat reporters is close to somebody who might have an inkling. I personally don't know, and I haven't heard of it. But my guess is until Matt gets a head coaching offer, Andy's not going to move on from him, is my gut.
That would be my gut. But if we have a trip down the rest of the season like this, it would not shock me to see them move on, because I know he's not calling plays, but he is helping design the offense. That is his job, is to help do that.
Agreed. Thanks, Cole. And thank you, Scott. Current Chiefs player most likely to be the next Andy Reid, as in make the jump to coaching.
Oh,
I have one in mind. What do you think?
I don't know, man. That's a loaded question. It's not going to be somebody on the defensive side because they're all pretty young. So they got a long time to go. So let's flip over to the offensive side. I don't really have a name. I don't really have anybody. I got nobody.
Joe freaking Tony.
It's probably Joe. That makes sense.
He understands the offense. He understands all the line assignments. Like he can coach really easily. And I think he's got the mind for the bigger thing. I just don't know if he's motivated. I've never spoken to the so I'm not sure.
Yeah, I get it.
Justin Mead, thank you, sir. I'm happy we're the home team. Fans in Germany sure made it feel like it. Tom Hockjob. Yes, I was
absolutely
really, really happy with that. And shout out to German Chiefs fan on Twitter. Appreciate you. Got us some footage of country roads. You know, it's a classic. I'm going to try to put something together for you guys so you can see some of his footage from the stadium that day. Tact as though we were all there. It'll be wonderful.
It's awesome.
All right. Let's see. That was the last super chat that I have. So this is the last question of the evening. Like, sub, hit the bell, go read whatever Dan's writing for fantasy. Make sure that you sub to RGR Craft. Go sign up at NFL33.com. Let's see what else. And then we'll answer this for KSU. Do you ever see us bringing Pinnell to the 53? In an injury case, possibly. But right now, he's a break glass dude.
Yeah, it's exactly what he is. And break glass is exactly what you need him for. If you need some help, someone gets hurt. Okay, we got someone who's been in here before. He can do it. We know we can. That's what he's here for.
Yeah. I like this answer, Stevie. He said Bell, Tooney, or Travis. I like that as well. Yeah. But Royce, if I'm going to cry too. I found Legarius deep in film study. I was so excited when he got here, and I think he's just outplayed the financial side of this.
Yeah, this guy was on him from the beginning, guys. Like the first guy on Legarius Sneed. No one was talking about Legarius Sneed. Nobody was. Ryan was. He knew.
4 years, man.
He's connected.
What did I do now? You didn't lag during the plug this time. Okay, rock on. Thanks,
there we
Justin.
go.
I appreciate the critiques of my delivery of all the minutia of actually running one of these. Thank you guys for being with us tonight. It's always fun. We went a little long, and I apologize, Dan. I know you have family things to do, as do I. So everyone, thank you for the time. And what's next for you? Where's your fantasy content going this week?
Always over at footballguys.com. We do a must start players every single Saturday. It drops. I do random, podcasts over there as well. But you guys know the main thing you're here for is the Chiefs content. Wednesday night, it will be the film review, the defense. We're going to get into the nitty gritty of how they stopped the number one offense in the NFL, held to the lowest point total of the season, and shut them out for the first time in the first half since 2021. That's what's on tap for Wednesday.
I'm here for it. I love me some defense, folks. Don't miss it. Tomorrow you get Seth. You're going to have a couple of pieces from us as well. We're not going anywhere near away while we wait to take on the Eagles. We're going to get you ready. Make sure that you're here with us. We thank you very much, including you, Miss Holly. Always nice to see you. We very much appreciate you all. If you want in the Discord and you want to get some of these extra logos that you're seeing here, you can do that by hitting the join button below and connect yourself to the YouTube channel. And you get to talk to Stevie Keys that way. That's always a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Thanks, buddy. Thank you, guys. Have a great week. We'll talk to you tomorrow.